Right now, as you're watching this, something is happening that could directly impact your life, your family, and most importantly, your wallet. This is not just another headline. This is not just another policy update buried in government paperwork. This is about your money, the money you rely on, the money you've worked for, and the money that could soon change in a way most people are completely unprepared for. Millions of Americans depend on Social Security checks every single month. Maybe that includes you. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe it's someone in your family who's counting every dollar just to keep up with rising costs. Rent is higher. Groceries cost more. Gas prices fluctuate. And every time you open your bills, it feels like your money just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. But here's where things take a surprising turn. There are growing signals behind the scenes that Social Security payments may increase far more than what people are expecting. Not just a small bump, not just a routine adjustment. We're talking about the kind of change that could actually shift your monthly budget in a meaningful way. And yet, most Americans haven't heard the full story. Why? Because the details are complicated, the timing is unclear, and the real impact is buried under technical terms that most people simply don't have time to decode. But today, we're breaking it all down, simply, clearly, and directly, so you understand exactly what could be coming, how it could affect your income, and what it means for your financial future. Because this isn't just news, this is personal. Why Social Security matters more than ever. Let's be real for a moment. Social Security is not just a government program. For millions of Americans, it's the difference between stability and stress. If you're already receiving benefits, you know exactly what we're talking about. That monthly deposit isn't extra money. It's essential. It helps cover your rent or mortgage, keeps food on the table, and pays for medications and everyday necessities. And if you're not receiving it yet, you're still affected. Because Social Security is something you've been paying into your entire working life. Every paycheck, every deduction, it all leads to this. Now here's the problem. For years, many people have felt like Social Security just hasn't kept up. Inflation rises quickly, but benefit increases often feel slow. You've probably noticed it yourself. Even when checks go up, it doesn't always feel like you're getting ahead. But something is changing. There are strong indications that upcoming adjustments could be significantly higher than usual, and that's because of one major factor, the cost of living. When inflation spikes, Social Security adjustments, known as COLA increases, are designed to respond. But what's happening now is different. The economic pressure Americans are facing is forcing bigger conversations, bigger calculations, and potentially bigger payments. And here's the part that should grab your attention. If these projections hold true, the increase could be one of the most noticeable in years. But the real question is, how much are we talking about? The hidden formula that controls your check. Most people don't realize this, but your Social Security check isn't random. It's based on a formula, a system that tracks inflation, economic trends, and cost of living changes. This formula determines something called the COLA, cost of living adjustment. Every year, this adjustment decides whether your benefits go up and by how much. Now here's where things get interesting. When inflation is low, COLA increases are small, sometimes barely noticeable. But when inflation rises sharply, like we've seen recently, the formula reacts. And right now, the numbers feeding into that formula are raising eyebrows. We're talking about rising housing costs, increased food prices, healthcare expenses climbing higher, and everyday essentials becoming more expensive across the board. These factors all feed into the calculation. And when those inputs go up, your potential increase goes up too. But here's the twist. The official numbers aren't always announced right away. There's a lag, a delay, a period where experts estimate what's coming based on current data. And those estimates, they're starting to suggest something bigger than expected, which means while most people are expecting a modest increase, the reality could be far more significant. And that's exactly why you need to keep watching, because the next part could directly impact how much money ends up in your account. How much more could you actually get? Let's talk numbers, because this is the part that affects your wallet directly. When people hear increase, they often think small, maybe a few extra dollars, maybe enough to cover a bill or two. But the projections we're seeing suggest something that could go beyond that. Depending on inflation trends and how the final calculations play out, some estimates point toward increases that could add meaningful monthly income, not just spare change. Now imagine this. What if your monthly check went up enough to cover your grocery bill, or reduce the pressure of rising rent, or finally give you breathing room in your budget? That's the kind of impact we're talking about, but, and this is important, not everyone will see the exact same increase. Your benefit amount depends on your earnings history, your retirement age, and other personal factors. So while the percentage increase may be the same across the board, the dollar amount will vary. For some, it could mean tens of dollars more per month. For others, it could mean hundreds. And here's the key detail most people miss. Even a small percentage increase can turn into a significant amount over time. Month after month, year after year, it adds up. So while headlines might downplay the change, the real-world effect on your finances could be much bigger than you think. And we're not done yet, because timing matters just as much as the amount. When could this increase actually happen? This is where anticipation starts to build. Because knowing an increase might happen is one thing, but knowing when it hits your account, that's what really matters. Typically, Social Security adjustments are announced toward the end of the year and take effect in the following year. That means there's a waiting period, a gap between expectation and reality. And during that gap, uncertainty grows. People start asking questions. Is it confirmed yet? How much will it be? When will it show up? Right now, we're in that critical window where projections are forming, but official announcements may still be ahead. And that's exactly why staying informed is so important. Because when the announcement finally comes, it doesn't just affect future checks. It can influence financial decisions you make today. Should you adjust your budget? Should you delay certain expenses? Should you plan differently for the next year? These are real decisions that impact real lives. And the more prepared you are, the better positioned you'll be when that increase finally arrives. The inflation factor. You can't ignore. Let's address the elephant in the room, inflation. You've felt it. Every trip to the store, every bill, every time you compare prices from a year ago to now. Inflation is the driving force behind these potential increases. It's the reason adjustments may be larger than expected. But here's the catch. Inflation is a double-edged sword. Yes, it can lead to higher Social Security payments, but it also means the cost of living is rising at the same time. So even if your check increases, the question becomes, will it be enough? That's why understanding the full picture is so important. Because this isn't just about more money, it's about maintaining your standard of living. And for many Americans, that balance is getting harder to achieve, which is why these potential increases matter more than ever. Who benefits the most from these changes? Not all Social Security recipients experience changes the same way. Some groups may feel the impact more strongly than others. For example, retirees who rely heavily on Social Security as their primary income source will likely notice the difference more than those with additional income streams. Similarly, individuals with higher benefit amounts may see larger dollar increases, even if the percentage is the same. But here's something important to understand. Even smaller increases can have a big impact for those on tight budgets. If every dollar matters, and for many people, it does, then any increase becomes meaningful. And that's why this potential change is getting so much attention, because it touches millions of lives in different ways at the same time. The risks and uncertainties still ahead. Now, let's be honest, nothing is guaranteed yet. Projections can change, economic conditions can shift, policy decisions can alter outcomes, and that means there's still uncertainty. The increase could end up being higher than expected or lower. That's the reality. But here's what you need to focus on: being aware, being prepared, and staying informed. Because the biggest mistake you can make is assuming nothing will change. What you should be doing right now. So what can you do today? Start by paying attention to updates. Follow announcements, stay informed about changes that could affect your benefits. Review your budget, look at your expenses. Think about how an increase or even a delay could impact your financial situation. And most importantly, don't ignore this, because the people who stay informed are the ones who are ready when changes happen. The bottom line and why this matters to you. At the end of the day, this isn't just about numbers on a screen. This is about your life, your security, your peace of mind, your future. Social security is more than a check. It's a foundation. And if that foundation shifts even slightly, it can change everything. Right now, we are at a moment where that shift could be bigger than expected, and that's why this matters. So stay alert, stay informed, and don't miss what happens next, because the next update could directly impact your wallet and your future. And if you want to stay ahead of these changes, make sure you don't miss the next update, because what comes next might be even more important than what you've heard today.